and we're here to present to you Thralled. So what is Thralled? Thralled is a video game that attempts to explore and discuss the human condition using the untapped potential of interactive media. It will be a 2D game for iPod Touch, iPhone, and iPad, and it will be developed using the Unity engine in conjunction with Box 2D and Physics Editor.
Thralled takes place in 16th century Brazil, and the player will control a slave named Azura, who was a pregnant mother deported from her home in Congo and taken to Brazil to work on the sugar plantation. Now one day when she's working, her water breaks and she faints in the scorching sun. And when she wakes up, she has no memory whatsoever what happened. She could have been laying there for weeks, months, no one knows, no one can tell her. No one knows, no one can tell her. And worst of all, she has no trace of what happened to her son. And so, driven mad by the thought of losing her only child, she goes out to find him. But Thralled is not only a story about a mother trying to find her lost son, it is also her quest and her journey, her self-struggle, self-realization, and all the environments that you see in this game represent her increasing dementia as she grows more and more traumatized with finding what happened to her son.
So our team is a strong believer in the potential of meaningful mechanics. So everything in our story is told through gameplay. The whole plot is told by what the player does and what the player sees. So what does the gameplay consist of, basically? Besides the basic motions of walking, running, jumping, and climbing, the player can also interact with others in the environment to solve puzzles, and he can also rotate the environment by switching the iPod or iPhone from portrait to landscape or vice versa. And this is really indicative of Isara's debilitated state of mind. So let me tell you how this works. In this case, the only way to progress through this environment is through a passage in the ceiling right there. So, because you can't fly in this game, what you can do is rotate the iPad 90 degrees clockwise, and likewise the environment will rotate, and the ceiling will turn into the right wall, and now you can go through the passage. This is a more complex example that has the basic same solution. So what you have here are spikes that the player can't touch, and here you have the same thing. And you have a rope right here. So what can the player do in this situation? The character has to jump to the rope and swing on it, and as she does so, the player has to rotate the iPad, inverting the environment, and then take advantage of the momentum built by the rope swinging and the rotation to jump across the spikes and go safely to the other side. And we have a short demo to demonstrate this mechanic to you guys. So she jumps to that lever, opens the door, and if you rotate the iPad, she'll go to the other side. Well, basically what we're supposed to do is if she drops down from here, she won't be able to just walk across the door. It will, fall before.
Fall back down when you're left with the lever.
Exactly.
But when she pulls down on the lever, the door opens, but you have to find a way to get through before the door closes again. Rotate the iPad. So you guys are probably asking what happens if the player rotates the device and she falls down, there's nothing to catch her. Well, she would fall into an infinite horizon. So that's where, So you guys are probably wondering what happens if the player rotates the device and Isara falls down and there's nothing to catch her. Well, she would fall into an infinite horizon. But this is where the element of the heavenward tides come in. The heavenward tides, as you can see right here, is an endless sea of water that goes up to the sky and follows Isara wherever she goes. And I should mention that besides being crucial to the gameplay, it's also significant to the progression of the story. As you can see here, she's looking at herself in the water, her reflection, but the reflection does not portray how she's standing. And this is indicative of the sort of self-struggle, the self-discovery that she goes through as she goes on her quest to find her son, and you'll discover more as you play the game. But as we go back to the gameplay mechanics, the heavenward tides ultimately prevents the player from falling down into infinity. So as you can see here in the diagram, the tides are first going vertically up, but if the player rotates the device, 90 degrees clockwise, Azar will fall down and the water will fall down on top of her. Now, if she is in an infrastructure and the player rotates the device 90 degrees clockwise, she'll be temporarily protected by what she's in, but however, she only has a limited time to jump down and escape that way before the water puts pressure on the walls and they crumble down and the water floods the whole place. So you really only have a limited time for everything. The water serves to do that.
We also have a number of variations to the rotating device. For example, mirrors. Let me explain to you what this does. When Isara gets closer to a mirror, she sees her own reflection but inverted 180 degrees. So if you interact with the mirror, if you touch it, if you touch the reflection of Isara, the environment itself will rotate 180 degrees. And we have a number of such variations to the rotating mechanic. And the mirror really goes back to the motif of reflection and the struggle that she goes through with herself to overcome her dementia.
Now those are basic gameplay mechanics in a nutshell. Now what are our goals for Thralled? Well, first and foremost, we want to develop a unique product that emotionally and mentally engages people of all ages and all types. And as I mentioned before, we want to use the power of storytelling and unique art to really create a lasting impact on the player and make them even think about it after they're done playing the game. And we also want to submit Thralled to a variety of festivals such as USC Games and IGF. And we ultimately want to release Thralled on the App Store by next year of June 2015.
So who do we need to accomplish this? We need between 2 and 3 programmers with experience in Unity or mobile development. And I should note that our lead programmer's position is still open, and we're waiting for the programming team to be complete to make the decision on who's going to fill in that role. And we also need between 1 and 2 Flash animators, and I probably don't need to say this, but everybody needs to be extremely hardworking because we have really high standards for this game.
And I should note for animators, we're actually looking for mainly character animators, so it's just going to go out like character animation. So you guys, we'll talk about this later. But in terms of programming.
Yeah, so these are some programming challenges that some of our engineers will eventually face. Our team, it's really important for our team that the character and the things around the character behave realistically. So if the character pushes a box or interacts with an object, it's really important that everything reacts as it would in the real world. So how are we going to approach physics with sprites in Unity? Is we're going to use Box 2D and Physics Editor, as already mentioned, which can be used in conjunction with Unity. As far as water behavior goes, we're planning to use either particle effects with physics attached to them or fluid simulators in Box 2D. And as far as touch input goes, Unity already has the libraries to take care of that, so that should be easy to figure out.
In terms of animations, all our animators do our character animations on Flash, and what we do is we convert the frames into sprite sheets. For example, this is a running animation of Azar, our character, and so that when we give it to the programmers, they can more easily input it into code.
I have a great group of industry advisors with us to accompany us throughout the process. I have Danny Bilson, who is our faculty advisor and former head of core games at THQ. I have Susanna Ruiz, who is the creator of Darfur is Dying, an award-winning game who came out of USC. We have Austin Wintry, the music composer for Journey. We also have Sanjay, who many of you know as a USC professor of programming here. He worked in such companies as EA and Pandemic. We also have the Moonshark crew, formerly known as Creative Mobile Labs. You may know these guys as the people who recently published DancePad.
And most importantly, we have an amazing and dedicated team. This is not actually an earlier proof picture, but we currently have 12 people on our team, a lot of them are here. We have 3 amazing composers, 4 animators, 2 artists, I'm an artist myself, and producer, and 3 programmers. And yeah, and we're currently just looking for a few more people to join our team and make Thralled a success. So thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you.
How many people do you think you'll have in the room every Thursday as a team? Like the composers won't be there every week.
Let's see about
10? Okay. I don't know. Do you have a room preference?
I just zoomed in on your lips.
That's really what we needed.
Yeah, but which would be
Well, SCBs you want to put no computers at all. Okay, you need that.
Those looks about right.
That
At
looks
least
about
the
right.
Gmail one.
Yeah. And what I would do is actually send an email.
That's a good picture of you guys.
Should be able
Look at that.
to do monsters.
The brave
Oh, I
one?
wonder who.
Ah,
A guy named Josh Joyner.
All right.